Why does it always seem to turn night when I want to start recording? Anyways, welcome back to another episode here on the OmathaCraft Season 4 server. It is episode 18, and in today's episode, I want to do more mega farm work. I'm so in the mood for it. These past couple of weeks, we've built an iron farm, we've built an amazing creeper farm, and I just want to continue this spree. And here are the phantoms. Where are they? Hitbox is on. That's the only way I seem to be able to kill them. Right, it's up there. So it's only one this time, but in today's episode, I want to work on this. Now down here you will see we will have a platform which is going to fill with mobs very quickly, but this is what I want to work on in today's episode, a massive sugarcane farm. Now this farm here, I think I've estimated it to produce over 2,000 sugarcane per full harvest, if without loss and all of that kind of business. That's a lot of sugarcane, and I'm looking at it now. I've laid down this base. So that is 7 or 14 single rows, or 7 sets of 2. Looking at it, it looks quite small. It looks thin and too long. But you know what, I'm not bothered. So what I want to do first is I want to go onto our testing world and I want to take a look at the flying machine we're going to use to make sure we can fit it the right length, make sure that all works okay. Once we've got that sorted, we're going to head on here. We've got hundreds of rails to place down. Once we place the hundreds of rails down, so that's going to be what, 7 times, so that's going to be about 14 stacks of rails. It's all nice numbers because we're doing it in stacks of 64. Once we've done that, we've got to do the minecart unloading stations down here, then put in the flying machines, and here we go. Let's get our numbers up. Whoa, a bit of a server spike lag. There we go. Come on. So we are at 137 phantoms killed, and I'm sure by the time I finish this episode, that will be a lot higher, as I have not slept for the entire month of October, and on the date recording it is the 11th. So yeah, there's quite a bit of time to go without sleeping, but I'm going to continue going. So let's head off to our testing world and see what we can come up with. I've gotten a bit carried away with myself and forgotten to record. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Take a look at what I've been up to. If we turn around, let's fly up into the sky with my very few rockets. Obviously, this will be solving a big problem with all the rockets. We have all of the rails in place. All of them. And I tell you what, this is beginning to look very, very cool. Take a look at this. It's looking amazing. Now, I overcrafted powered rails. At first, I was trying to undercraft them and all kinds of bits and pieces so I could reduce the amount of powered rails we need. Now, I put very few in, and that is all we need. I've done all this testing. Now, I thought I'd explain to you a bit about how this system works. So what we're going to get is we're going to get ourselves a hopper minecart. There'll be hopper minecart on each one of these rails, so there's going to be 14 different hopper minecarts. Down here we have our minecart unloading station. Now I'm going to try and explain how this works. So what we have is the minecart is obviously going to be running up and down this track. When he comes in, he's going to land on here, then he's going to get stuck in place just for a second. The detector rail will go through this comparator. The comparator will turn off this piston, which will then lock this fence gate. If this fence gate gets locked, the minecart can't roll back down the track, meaning all the items in the hopper minecart empty, go into our hoppers and are going to go into a hopper, an item sort of storage system and all that kind of business, going down underneath and off to where we're going to store these items, which I'm not 100% sure yet. And this is still amazing to see this farm working, I have to say. That is just ticking away in the background. I just look at this, it's bonkers. But yeah, so this is our unloading station, and we have 14 of these, one for each powered line, and down at the other end we are going to be able to turn off the minecarts, because 14 entities running backwards and forwards is just going to be adding a little bit more lag to the server, which is something I don't want to do. So what we're going to do is we have this line here which will turn off all of the powered rails down here. Now what I'm thinking is we're going to have some system when we activate the flying machine to harvest all of the sugarcane, it will actually activate these powered rails, meaning they'll be able to go along and pick everything up, which is brilliant. But yeah, let me show you how this works. What we'll do is we will place a minecart on that rail just there, flick this lever, and you'll see that we can follow this minecart down. He is not actually picking up any items in his inventory, so as we'll see, he'll get to the bottom, he will go straight up, and then he's going to go straight back down because he's got no items in his inventory, so nothing is going through the hoppers. So it's a really, really simple system, but it's just on a massive scale, which is, I have to say, it's pretty cool as well. Oh, that looks amazing. I've just planted I think just over 9 stacks of sugarcane, and Yeah, that looks good. And I've just remembered that I do have a load of sugarcane over here. I don't think that's definitely not gonna be enough to spread out over to do the rest of the rows. But we're getting there, and it is beginning to look very, very cool. And I'm sure my sounds are very loud, so we'll turn them down just a bit just there. So yeah. Wow, this farm is absolutely amazing. So the next thing we need to do is we need to build up those leaf walls. Now, the reason we are using leaves is so slime blocks don't stick to them. Now, we could use things other than blocks like obsidian or furnaces or things like that, but as you can tell, the reason we're not using that is because of how expensive those blocks are. That would just eat through all of our resources, and we spend so much time trying to gather them. It just wouldn't be worth it. So leaves seem to be the best option. So that's what we've gone for. So as you can see, the leaves cover the gaps over the water, so that'll stop any items going into the water. Any items that do land on top of the leaves will either get swept along by the flying machines to hopefully get picked up. Otherwise, it will be a little bit of loss, but it wouldn't be too much in comparison to how much will be growing. And it has just reminded me how slow sugarcane grows. But to be honest, it's not a problem. The moment I will only harvest this when it is fully grown, meaning we'll get the max efficiency from this. And to be honest, I'll probably only have to harvest it maybe once a week, and we'll have enough sugarcane to stock all of our future shops and to supplies with all the rockets we're ever going to need. And I always do that. I always fall off the end. So yeah, I've got some more leaf placing to do. I went and gathered up probably around half a shulker box of leaves, so we've got enough to get going. So I'll crack on with that. Once I've done that, I'll meet you in a second. Whoa! Apparently mobs can spawn in sugarcane. That's new to me. Hello, Enderman. I'm sure I just looked in his eyes. Oh, no, creeper, no! Oh, dear. I went AFK. Oh, no, the rails. I went AFK for a bit just to let the sugarcane grow. Oh. What are we going to do about that, then? I'm trying to think of immovable light sources. Because that is such a pain. Typical, absolutely typical. Okay, so some leaf walls have been built up, and we have, I believe, a working flying machine in place. I haven't tested this flying machine, so this is going to be the first attempt to see how this goes. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to grab a dirt block just like that, and we are going to place that just there. Right. Ah. Are they stuck to the... No, they're not stuck there. Oh, it's going. Oh. Oh my. Look at that. That's amazing. That's so cool. Now we've just got to hope the immovable object I've put in place down at the end does its job. Look, we might need to build up the leaf walls because you can see there are some drops just there. But, oh, I'm stuck. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's raining sugarcane. That's brilliant. And now the last thing we need to do is just test that we can send it backwards. So we will go and have to update one of these blocks around here. Okay, so as we can see, we need to bring this immovable object forward by one block. So we're going to break that there. Pick it up. I will go ahead and try and pick up as much of this sugarcane as I can just to see roughly what the harvest is going to be like. So let's place that in there. Let's break that block and let's place block just there. And there we go. The leaf walls have been raised up by another block, so no items are going to get stuck on there. The lighting has been put in place, so hopefully no more mobs should be spawning in there. And now we should have a farm we can activate. So we are going to give it the first attempt. So we are going to do this by what I think it's this one just here. There we go. It's going. And I just realised I haven't placed all the minecarts in place. So what we will have to do now is we are going to wait for this flying machine to activate fully. So we're just going to walk and watch this go across. This is doing its job. As we can see, all the items are landing either on the floor. Nothing is in those gaps for the moment. And any items that are in those gaps are getting pushed right forward. I've also added this secondary barrier here, and of course it's turning nighttime when I want to record. This area down here gets deadly. As we can see, these items are going to fall down here, so we're going to have to make some way to collect these items that fall down here. So now that has been put in place, we are going to go down to the other end, right down here. We are going to grab all of our minecarts, which that is not a minecart, and I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can without it turning nighttime, and we are going to place these minecarts in place, and these should get going for the first harvest. Now I've just remembered the lever is off at the other end, which means they will stop at the other end, but they are going to pick up the first load, which is absolutely brilliant. Hopefully we should begin to get some kind of farm going here. This has gone so well. Tell you what, I do love these massive projects. I will place the rest of these minecarts in, and we'll go and see what's happening at the other end. Okay, so the minecarts have gone across, and they will be all down at this end. So what we need to do now is we need to activate that just there. Now we'll see most of those items have been picked up, so we're going to try and fly down the other end. We can see that one there is going down, and we should see these all come in like that. They are all locked on, and these will begin to empty. Now we're seeing there's about 2 stacks in there, which is great. That's a really good number to see. It means the minecarts aren't filling up, so nothing is really going to be despawning, meaning we only have to have 1 activation of the system, which is absolutely great. And if we pick up the rest of these, we will see that there's still quite a few stacks which get shot down this end. So that's nice to see that them get knocked away. So the last thing we need to do is we need to send the elevator, not the elevator, the, what's this called? Flying machine, that's the word. I managed to get it right. Oh, phantoms, please, no, thank you. Right, okay, so they are moving their way across, and that is returning to its station. This is so cool. And that there is the amount of sugarcane we have produced in 1 harvest of the farm. That is crazy. How many stacks is that? That is over 18 stacks. So that is almost 26 stacks, and I actually think I'm missing a few pieces of sugarcane in the gaps around here. Now, it's actually a bit of a pain to get into those gaps because it's actually quite built up now at this end. So the next thing we need to be doing is actually going to take a look at the redstone we want to be putting in place to activate these flying machines and to activate the minecarts. So as we can see, if we pick up these last few bits, we should have almost every single piece. Take a look at that. That much sugarcane per harvest is definitely going to have us sorted, and as we can see, that is already all going to be growing back. That chest is almost all full of sugarcane anyway, so that is a great look. And here we go, some more phantoms. I'm almost at 200 phantoms. Yeah, I'm gaining, Pyro. I'm making my lead. My breakaway is coming. So the next thing we need to be doing is I am going to work out a way to make a flying machine return station. Once we've done that... Oh, is there a mob in there? There is a skeleton in there. I see you there. So it does seem that a couple of mobs can spawn in, but for the long term, you're not really going to be going inside this farm, so that is not too much of a worry. And by the time we've probably done all this redstone and got all this in place, well, it's probably ready for another harvest. So the next thing I'd like to do is I'd like to sort out the redstone system down here. This will allow us to get rid of all of the sugarcane and output it to a storage system. So I think the first things I'm going to need are over there. Now this golem farm, in the last episode we did dig a big pit, and this chest seemed to have caused a bit of an issue with that. So I think I need to do a little bit more digging around here because they're still spawning where they shouldn't be spawning, which is a bit of a pain. Okay, here we go. I think I've got everything in place, so I'm just going to show you everything we've done. So the first thing we have put in place is over at this end, we have put in a return station. Again, I have not tested any of this, so it's going to be interesting to see if this works. So the observer will detect the flying machine hitting that. When it hits that, it's going to send a pulse through this repeater just here into the piston, which will reactivate the observer, sending it back the other way. Then we have another pulse, which is coming outside of this observer as well, running down to power this line here. This line here will activate all the minecarts and send them on their way. We also have put in the line of hoppers down here and a water stream down the side, so the items get shot at down this water stream for any items that get put into those hoppers down the other end. So we get in max efficiency and all that kind of stuff, so that should all come through there. We have a storage system down here, and that should be the activation button. So I think it's time to give this a go. This should be the first test. There we go. The flying machine is off. Look at that. The items are falling down on the ground, so it's going to be interesting to see whether the minecarts actually do activate. Make sure they go ahead as they should. And there we go. We can see the items going down to the hoppers. Aha! Right, so it seems that I've misplaced the piston and the observer. So what we need to do is we are just going to break that line just there. And I'm just going to rewire up this circuit here just a little bit to make sure this works. So we need to move basically the whole system over by one block. So the piston needs to be just here, and then we can rewire this circuit up just here. So hopefully this should then work when we reactivate the system. Okay, so I've rewired this circuit just a bit. We're going to just do a manual activation here, so we should be able to press that. That is going off. Now we need to, hopefully the minecarts should have all been sent off as well. Can we see those items? I think all those items have been picked up, which is great to see. Now there will be a tiny bit of loss for all the items that have fallen on there, but if we head down to this end, we should see, yes, the minecarts are all unloading in there. Come down here. Right. So these are unloading into these. They're not unloading into those droppers. Now, this must mean that these hoppers are getting locked somehow. So if we head round the back, now the activation circuit I've put in place might not be 100% working. Which, oh, look, there we go. That one's activating. There we go. That seems to be working. Can I? I'm not seeing any items from down there. But that is a lot of sugarcane coming in. Now what we should see is these, yes, they're filling up. There seems to be just some other random items which have managed to fall in there. That side's filling up all right. Yeah, that's all good. Still coming. It is time to do the final test. I've done a few modifications and I think we are ready to give this a go. Again, I've AFK'd for it to fully grow. And are you ready? There we go. We are getting so much sugarcane just from these practice harvests. But this should be the final one. Hopefully the observers will detect that it's arrived and will send it back. As we are seeing, yeah, that's all. Doing its job. Some sugarcane is getting shot that way. A little is getting left behind on those edges, but not too much, which is great to see. And yeah, wow, this is so much fun to look at and use. Now, one thing I'd like to see is this system over here going to be working? Let's see. Items are going in there. Yes, they're getting shot down that water stream. I believe the minecarts have just been sent off. We're going to put those in there. Let's head down to the other end. And we should see these minecarts roll into place. Yes, they do. Now, I believe there are some weird locking things that go on, so very few activate until the minecarts have emptied. So the minecarts empty themselves, they empty their innards. As we can see, that is going to roll empty. And once that is done, we'll see the sugarcane begin to rain outwards. Okay, and as you can see, they're slowly turning off. The moment we see some torches turn off, that is when the minecarts have left their stations and they will begin unloading. And just look at that, it is raining sugarcane. We're going to have to decide what we're going to do with all of this. I mean, it's just flowing in so fast. Now, I think in the next episode, I'd like to design my very own auto-crafting rocket station. So I'd like to be able to call in gunpowder, which, as I'd like to come and show you, we have been getting absolutely tons of. Let's come and look down here. All of these double chests are full with gunpowder, apart from one gunpowder in the top chest just there. The hoppers are filling up back. So that is why I want to do that in the next episode, because, well, we've got no room to store the gunpowder soon. Soon enough, it's going to be despawning, and that is not what we want. So in the next episode, I want to build up an epic auto-crafting station somewhere in between. So probably in this area here, where we can summon in the sugarcane, we can craft that into paper really nicely, we get the correct amounts, and then we call in the gunpowder, meaning we can craft up the rockets at whatever tier we like. So there's going to have to be some redstone testing and designing going into that, but hopefully that should work really well. Now, I am going to move all of this sugarcane down into the one chest just to get a look at how much we are gathering up. I mean, look, that's almost a double chest there. And we've got over a double chest on this side. Yeah, this is such an amazing farm, and it wasn't that, well, apart from the rails, it wasn't that resource intensive. It just took up time, and to be honest, that doesn't bother me at all. So hopefully this season you are getting an idea of the scale of things I want to be doing. Now eventually I want this whole area to be full with different farms, different bits and pieces that is just it's so industrial, and we can get things on massive quantities and scale. So I think eventually that forest there is going to have to go, so we can expand in all of this area around here, and this place is becoming very, very cool. But yeah, lighting up is something I'm slowly doing bit by bit. I'm slowly pushing around the boundaries, so this place is becoming again more and more efficient the more things we build. But yeah, as you can see, more creepers are spawning, but unfortunately that is all I have got time for in today's episode. So if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, because it really does help out the channel, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.